real exchange rate. So real exchange rate is a measurement of the exchange rate in terms of prices of goods and services and the nominal exchange rate. So it is the nominal exchange rate adjusted for price changes, and it is vital in measuring the purchasing power of a country. So strictly speaking, the real exchange rate tells you how much units of a particular good or service you can get with um, a given amount of your currency or money you hold in this case. So while the nominal exchange rate simply talks about the face value or the paper value of your currency without adjusting for price changes, the real exchange rate tells you about not just the paper value of the currency, but adjust the paper value of your currency with respect to inflation in different countries. So this is vital in understanding the purchasing power of a currency. So the purchasing power of a currency is simply how much unit of a good that that particular currency can get in another country. That's what we mean by purchasing power of a currency. So that is what real exchange rate stands to measure. So it gives you an indication of the purchasing power of a country because it takes out inflation from the nominal exchange rate. So imagine you are traveling and in Sierra Leone, a loaf of bread costs 2 leones, while in Ghana, the same loaf of bread costs 4 cedis. Now, just knowing the nominal exchange rate between the leones and cedis is really not enough to tell us if bread is really more expensive in one country or the other. So you cannot determine actually. So because there is no prices, you don't have prices in this case. So to really see which country has more expensive bread in terms of what it can buy, we use the real exchange rate. So the real exchange rate simply adjusts the nominal rate for differences in the price level. So it is only when you take into consideration the prices in both countries and the nominal exchange rate, then you'll be able to determine which country has more expensive bread than the other. So the real exchange rate more generally is product of the nominal exchange rate and the ratio of prices between two countries. So it is calculated often by using two formula which are actually equal, though with different assumptions. So if we have two prices, say P and P star, where P represents the price of the good in a domestic country and P star represents the price of the good in a foreign country, then the real exchange rate will be equal to nominal exchange rate times P over P star. If the nominal exchange rate in this case is um, quoting the foreign currency while the domestic currency is the base currency. So in other words, if and only if the nominal exchange rate in its value, the quoted currency is the foreign currency, then um, in the price ratio of P and P star, then the foreign price should come in the denominator. In this case, P star should be in the denominator. So, for instance, if we have, let's say, we have Sierra Leone and Guinea. Sierra Leone is domestic country, home country. Then Guinea is a foreign external country. Then, if I say 1 leone will give you 100 Guinean franc, then it means that I've quoted the nominal exchange rate in terms of the Guinean franc. So if I want to consider the price of a phone, then the price of a phone in Guinea, the price in Guinean franc should come in the denominator. However, the second formula states that the nominal exchange rate times P star over P. Now, this holds if the domestic currency is serving as the quoted currency. So, if we flip the table, then now we have one Guinean franc equivalent to 100 leons. So, in this case, leons becomes the quoted currency. So, it becomes the quoted currency. So, the the price ratio will change from P to P star to now P star over P. So the domestic price will now be in the denominator. So this is very key in exchange rate analysis for you to get a correct measurement of the real exchange rate. So let's see an example. Now assume the exchange rate between the leons and the dollars is one leon will get you 0.0012 dollars, and the price of a sneaker is 10 leon and 5 leon in Sierra Leone and United States respectively. So given that leons is a domestic currency and dollar is a foreign, I want to calculate the real exchange rate and interpret its value. The solution. Now, since the exchange rate is quoted in terms of dollar, so you take notes, look at the exchange rate, the nominal exchange rate keenly. It is saying 1 leon per $0.00012. So in this case, it is quoted in terms of dollar because you are determining the value of a leon in dollars. So the formula you should use is the one with P star in the denominator. So you have 0.00012 times the price of the sneaker in Sierra Leone, 10 over 5. So it gives you 0.00024. Now, how do you interpret this? So it means the real exchange rate of 0.00024 implies that 10 leon will be able to purchase 0.00024 sneaker in the USA. So if you take 10 leons, you only be able to get 0.00024 sneakers in the United States. So that's how you interpret it. So to interpret, the price in the in the numerator can get you the amount of goods as measured by the real exchange rate value. So intuitively, Leon 10 cannot get you a sneaker in the USA based on the calculations. So let's see another example as well. Now assume the exchange rate between the leons and the dollars now is 1 leon equivalent to $1 equivalent to 24 leons, and the price of a sneaker is 10 leon and $5. So now we'll flip the table. Assume the leons is it's now the foreign price, and of course the dollar is domestic. But for simplicity, we will still assume the leons is P and the dollar is P star. So since the exchange rate now is quoted in terms of the leons, and if the leon still remain as P and the dollar as P star, but the exchange rate is now quoted in terms of the leon, so it means the nominal exchange rate is now quoted in terms of the leon. So in the denominator of the price ratio, instead of P star now, we will have P. So if you plug in the